Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin-yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Tuesday, December 29th, 10 p.m. Mountain Time 2020. The models are in, and they're not funny. Huge system hitting the central U.S. is going to be followed up by another big boomer, bringing, well, problems to Texas, the nexus of the Schmexus. And that's the big story. Double winter storms will bring snow and ice for New Year's Eve. Keep calm. It's boom time, especially if you're in Croatia. We will get to that. We have some amazing footage of the major earthquake in Croatia, as well as an entire breakdown of the situation. Now back to the snow. San Bernardino, San Gabriel, mountains coated in snow after the storm. If you don't know where this is in Southern California, near L.A. In fact, heavy snow stranded bumper-to-bumper traffic late into Monday. Monday night on the road up to Mount Baldy, the massive peak that rises 10,066 feet in the San Gabriel Mountains northeast of L.A. Mount Baldy said on its website that while all the snow was good news, 2 feet there, about 90% of its employees got stuck in that jam. The resort cautioned snow enthusiasts that a significant amount of avalanche control work would need to be done before any skiing. And even then, predicted winds could interfere with operations. We have avalanche warnings throughout the region here. It is very deadly. Stay out of the backcountry for the next 48 hours. Lake effect snow totals from Tuesday. The lake effect machine has been cranking it out for days. Onondaga County in New York, Brewertown 13.5. Cicero 7.8. Oswego County picking up 13. Oneonta County picking up 7 or more. Madison, couple inches. 7.8 in Cayuga County. Seneca saw 4.2. Lewis 4.5. It is a lake effect machine, and it won't stop until the lakes freeze. Record-breaking snowy December. Some snow on the way. Well, we reported on Youngstown, Ohio, just eclipsing the largest single daily snowfall total, I think, on Christmas or Christmas Eve. And now the month. Yes, at the airport, 29.6, second snowiest ever. They're not going to break this 2010 record, but they may have some heavy snow moving into January based on the solar cycle chart. 2010 was the last solar minimum. We're in 2020, the next solar minimum. You do the math. Well, they just did, and it was a record snowiest year. Second, early snow totals, 9.6 inches reported in Des Moines. Now, there is up to 11 to 16 inches going to fall in the next 48 hours in Des Moines, so they're going to be shoveling for quite some time. Heads up, Iowa. Here we're looking at the Snowfall Analyzer. Last 48 hours, and you can see that our state, Colorado, picked up the heaviest snow. In fact, the southern San Juans, where I live, picked up 3 to 4 feet. Up in the northern mountains here, few areas with 3 feet, but not like the extent we got down here. We're the big winner chicken dinner. Southern Sierras picked up about 1 foot in some areas. 2 foot here. Wow! In Southern California. And they're going to be getting more snow as a system to hit Texas through New Year's moves through. There's the lake effect snow machine there. There's 1 foot or more in certain regions. We're talking north of Catskills, Finger Lakes region, and just the general areas that pick up lake effect snow. Now, cold front brings rain and chance for wintry weather across North Texas on New Year's Eve. This is not North Texas. This is West Texas. But like I predicted 2 days ago, heavy snow coming potentially to Austin. It's going to be just west of you, thanks to the GFS model. Now, the forecast for North Texas has wet weather moving in Tuesday afternoon and evening, and the dramatic changes are just behind it. Widespread rain will begin overnight now. Continue through Wednesday. According to the National Weather Service, models show the possibility for snow in North Texas on New Year's Eve. The cold front pushing in late Wednesday will keep high temperatures in the 40s, but then watch out for winter weather. Slow down. You're in Texas, the nexus of the Schmexus, and they don't know what to do. If we're going to get 2 to 10 inches, the National Weather Service offer in Midland, Odessa, forecasting 2 to 10 inches of snow for portions of Texas through Thursday morning. So there's the boom, and let's check the models. Well, they're showing epic amounts of snow all the way through Mexico. Ho, ho, ho. And we'll break it down day by day here. Here's your Wednesday. That heavy snow is going to be moving through Iowa and northern Illinois. You'll be Illinois. And then Top Knot picking up the first bump of the season as Michigan gets pummeled. Not really. About 4 to 6 in many regions. Could be up to 8 in Top Knot's area or just north of him. And then here's the, okay, let's go back. Here's your Wednesday. That storm's going to move all the way east through Thursday. This is your New Year's Eve forecast. By New Year's Eve, there's going to be heavy snow moving from West Texas up through Central Texas, the nexus of the schmexes. So keep a close eye on this band. This is regions where people don't see snow and do not know how to drive. So we're going to be seeing heavy fatalities and casualties on the highways. Take a look through, yes, New Year's Eve day. That's insane. And here we are. Yeah, this is New Year's Day into the next day. So by the end of New Year's Day into January 2nd, a second system is going to move up to Iowa to add insult to injury in that region already hit by heavy snow, bringing snow to the northeast like a beast up in the Dax, New Hampshire, Maine. It's insane. But the big winner chicken dinner here is northern Illinois and southeastern Iowa. Hello. And then to add insult to injury through the first week, heavy snow in the west, especially Washington State, could be record level tilting things. And we could have a nor'easter coming up here, unlike has been seen in 11 years, the second week of January. So just some tidbits, but take a look at the La Nina totals here in the west. Look at Northern California. This is almost illegal. Hello. Central U.S. hazardous weather. Yes, indeed. First of several weather systems moving into the northeast and the northwest. A storm system and trailing cold front will shift from the southern plains to the Great Lakes overnight and Wednesday. Areas of heavy snow and ice will be found from West Texas into the Great Lakes, while heavy rain and severe thunderstorms are forecast from East Texas into the mid-Mississippi Valley in the northwest. The first several storm systems will bring heavy rain and mountain snow. Winter storm watches and warnings in 10 states, all the way down to Mexico. Take a look. Boom, a double boom, and a wow. 190 counties under winter storm warning and watch. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. I hate it when he has something to say. Here we are with Europe. There's no difference. As we enter the new year, it's going to be a new year for snow, snow totals, snow models, snow falling in northern Africa, and all. Take a look at that. Let's just pause it. Boom! You've been looking for snow in Europe. You'll get it. Trust me, it's coming. Nobody's bumming. They'll be shoveling. People are bumming in Croatia as Croatia is hit by a 6.4 magnitude earthquake, leaving at least 7 dead. The biggest earthquake in hundreds of fucking years. We will cover that in great detail. Here's some pictures coming down of some of the devastation. It's quite unfortunate. At least 7 people were killed and dozens were injured after a powerful 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck central Croatia on Tuesday, which was their lose day, according to the USGS and Croatian officials. Emergency crews assisted by the military were still digging through the rubble in several towns as night fell and electricity remained out. There have been lives saved, and we're going to have some amazing footage coming up in a second. So big thumbs up there for all the citizens that they all stood up. There's no masks. It's completely hazy and dust, and they started digging through these rocks as soon as the buildings fell. So big thumbs up to humanity today. The quake, which struck just after noon local time about 30 minutes southeast of the capital of Zagreb, could be felt across the Balkans. It's the largest quake to hit Croatia this year. Well, since the 1880s, you horrible reporters. Bunch of fucking schmucks. According to the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, it's the biggest quake this year. That's the most pathetic piece of non-reporting I've ever seen. Here's some pictures. Complete devastation here in these buildings, which have been been sitting here for hundreds of years. But it's the biggest quake this year. Now, here is some feel-good story. This is a boy pulled alive from the rubble after a 6.3 magnitude hits Croatia, followed by a press release that is interrupted by an aftershock in the high 4, low 5 magnitude. Take a look. Yes! Watch it. Watch the kid come out. Get him! Yes! Yes! Oh no. Oh my God.
Pripadnici Hrvatske vojske.
Ona su, ajde možemo reći, manja na pokrovima i bit će sanirana tijekom sutrašnjeg ili ovog tjedna.
Can you even imagine that? I can't even imagine that, but this is just a sign of the times, and more of this is coming. Now let's talk about Zagreb, the region where this earthquake hit. Now, the earthquake in Zagreb, Croatia of 1880 is the only thing you can find, centennial minimum, end of the Maunder minimum there, or actually the Dalton minimum. The end of the Dalton, the beginning of the centennial is when the 1880 quakes. But if you go back into the Dalton here, in most of Slovenia as well as northern Croatia, earthquakes are not rare, but they are very rare above 5 magnitude. This is a region where the collision zone between the African and the Eurasian plate happens, or plate tectonics is considered to be happening. There's definitely 2 plates hitting. But the proximity of the Pepperdine liniment crossing Central Europe from the Krakow, Poland, over Vienna and up the Udine town of Friuli, yes, in northwest Italy, contribute to the increased seismic activity in the region. A strong earthquake occurred there in 1976 with the epicenter near Udine, but pales in comparison to this quake. Now, the city of Zagreb was destroyed by an earthquake several times in history. For example, in 1830 during the Dalton minimum, and then twice in September and October 1838. And other strong earthquakes were felt in Zagreb and Ljubljana in 1871 and 1878. This is all related to the sun. Other strong earthquakes were felt between Zagreb in 1871 and 1878, another solar minimum. However, the event of November 9th, 1880, grand solar minimum much, of the magnitude 6.3 and estimated intensity of the same today, was the most famous. And now we have the second most famous quake coming from the same region. But those pale in comparison to the 1667 Dubrovnik earthquake. Now, the 1667 Dubrovnik earthquake was far south of this quake, which is up in this region. It's down here on the coast. But it was one of the 3 most devastating earthquakes to hit what is now modern Croatia in the last 2,400 years, since records began. The entire city was almost destroyed. 5,000 people were killed. Almost all the buildings were decimated. So, there is bigger potential in this region. Trust me. Seismic update. We have some recent movement here on the Aleutians. Some tropical activity. But the big story is coming from Cascadia, of all regions, at the same time the Croatian quake. Now, if we draw a straight line across here, you have some of the 3 most major earthquakes in the last 24 hours. I don't know if that means anything, but that seems to always line up. And you can see that aftershock we just witnessed was a 4.4, so not a big deal. Can you imagine what the actual 6.4 felt like? No one can. But we did, in fact, have a major jolt in the Cascadia, 5.7 in Bandon, Oregon. No tsunami, but could be a precursor of things to come. Hopefully not. Worldwide volcano news update. Popo puffing to 22,000 feet consistently. We have all of the major volcanoes going off the Chizarts. They're all erupting. Fuego, Ducono, Kluchaskov, Popo, Shivalush. At high levels, their highest levels. And all of these are reports from just the last 24 hours. Hours of powers. Now let's talk about the Kilauea emission rates. They continue to drop, which is good news. They're down 100% since the beginning of the eruption, where they were actually receiving amounts of sulfur dioxide in the range of 35,000 to 40,000 tons per day. And we're now down to 3,300 to 5,500 tons per day. So that's good news. But the eruptive activity from the fissures, well, very little has changed. And we do have some video to show you from 22 hours ago.
Overnight at Kilauea Volcano, lava continued to cascade from the west vent, feeding the new lava lake at the summit caldera. There have been no major changes in the week-long eruption. The lava level remains roughly the same. Hawaiian Volcano Observatory field crews measured the lava lake at 588 feet deep on Monday, which is about the same as it was yesterday. 2 or 3 channels of lava are erupting from the crater wall, plunging 130 feet down into the surface of the molten lake. As the cascade hits the surface, the lake can be seen sloshing around and pulling cooled pieces of crust under the surface. As they have since the eruption began, scientists keep an eye on the activity from the crater rim. They are using this laser rangefinder to make measurements. They also captured this sunrise photo this morning showing the foggy haze that persists within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. In this image, portions of Crater Rim Drive that dropped during Kilauea's 2018 collapse are visible in the lower left. This area remains closed to the public due to hazardous conditions. After daybreak, HVO scientists took to the air to collect visual and thermal imagery in order to map the ongoing activity. Over the past day, the island of cooler, solidified lava floating in the lava lake began drifting back to the east. The scientists say the island is about 740 feet in length and 360 feet wide. Measurements taken Sunday evening show that the island's surface was about 20 feet above the lava lake. The island appears in this new HVO graphic, which offers a side-by-side comparison of the Kilauea summit before and after the December 20th eruption. On the left side is the crater as it appeared back in early 2019. The image on the right was produced from measurements taken just 2 days ago. The new eruptive vents are evident on the newer model. Sulfur dioxide emission rates were last measured at about 5,500 tons per day. It's a big decrease from the emission rates measured at the start of the eruption, but the readings are still considered elevated. Summit tilt meters today continued to record weak inflationary tilt. Seismicity remained elevated but stable with steady elevated tremor and a few minor earthquakes. The eruption remains confined to the summit caldera, and scientists say there is no seismic or deformation.
Holy macaroni, it just shut down. So there's no seismic or deformation activity that would suggest that there's anything ongoing except inflation. So the ground has now, it was deflating during the initial eruption, but now the lava lake has drained. The ground is now going back up. But this is going to be a slow process of up and down as it pumps out all the lava, if this is what is actually happening, which is what they're hoping for. And I cannot concur anything less than what they're reporting on here at Big Island News. So give them a big like, yes, and subscribe, which we already have. Awesome channel for awesome information and limited bandwidth because we have all these videos open. Now, in 1110, that's quite a bit ago, 110 years ago, the moon vanished from the sky, and we might finally know why. 10 years ago. Now, this is a bigger cycle called the Bond cycle, which we're repeating. So we have to keep a close eye on Hekla volcano in Iceland, because Hekla volcano, until recently, was not thought to have caused this darkening. But in 1110, the sun went dark for a year and might have been missing for 3 years due to the blood red sky and stratospheric injections from the VEI-5 volcanic eruption from Hekla, which we're going to get to. Almost a millennium ago, a major upheaval occurred in Earth's atmosphere. A giant cloud of sulfur-rich particles flowed through the stratosphere, turning skies dark for months. even years. All the records are missing, except for little snippets, tidbits, before ultimately falling down on Earth and being deposited in ice worldwide. Now, we know this event happened because researchers have drilled and analyzed the ice core samples taken from deep within the sheets or glaciers, which have trapped the sulfur aerosols produced by the volcanic eruptions reaching the stratosphere and then settling back on the surface years later. That's how it works. So the chronology has to be tweaked based on observation, data, and knowledge. And we now have the knowledge. Hekla, not Katla, sorry, it's Hekla. Hekla volcano. My bad. Now, Hekla volcano is in the southern region where we're looking at the Reykjanes Ridge and other major volcanoes in that region. Here's Hekla. Here's Eyjafjallajökull and Mælgjajarjökull. These are big eruptive calderas. Hekla's up here. This is more of a direct mid-ocean ridge fissure type eruption, where this is actually connected to the mantle, for fuck's sake. So big things can happen here, and big things have happened in the past at Hekla. Yeah, in fact, it's still Hekla. Thank God. Whew. Let's go to the eruptive history of Hekla. And you can see here as early as 1947, a VEI-4 affected the world in a big way. I'm sure you've never heard about that because, well, our history is erased just decades after it is produced. But VEI-4s are pretty predictable here. We have a 4 back in 1766. Right before the revolution, and one in 1845. Are you picking it up? I mean, these are all historical times. 1693, 1597. Oh, almost 1492, for goodness sake. In 1510, just 15 years later after Columbus didn't discover America, it blew again at VEI-4. But VEI-5 back in 1104 is actually 1110, plus or minus 45 days. So, Hekla is going to be on our charts. I don't expect it based on all of the periodicities and the seismics and all the data for it to erupt. My prediction for Hekla is 2023. But there will be other volcanoes in Iceland erupting prior to that. So there's my official word. Take it with a grain of salt, because it probably will come true. Mexico is set to become the world's largest legal cannabis market. Yes! We need big legal cannabis markets, and we need them now. But don't go to Mexico to buy weed. Just come to Colorado. Asymptomatic transmission of COVID-19 didn't occur at all, ever. That means the mask you have on is useless, and you've been, well, looking like an idiot for quite some time. Study of 10 million finds there is no asymptomatic spread, so wearing masks are only preventative. And if you're not sick and you're under the age of 60, you don't need a fucking mask. You're more likely to get hit by a train than die by COVID. So hopefully the mask will be falling off our faces if any scientific information actually hits the mainstream and they pick it up because we just put it down. The Dogon, extraordinary knowledge of the cosmos and the cult of Nomo. If you didn't know about the Dogon, well, now you do. Northwest Africa. This is a tribe that has some of the most intriguing scientific information ever ingrained into their heritage. It comes in the form of petroglyphs, pictographs, and general knowledge of the group in question, the Dogon tribe itself. Now, this group of humans in Northwest Africa has some of the most amazing dances and historical traditions related to the cosmos. They know about Sirius A and B, their rotational periodicities. They know about DNA, mitochondria. They know about a lot of things that people can't explain. And they say we came from giant fish that came out of the ocean. And here's some amazing sculptures from the Dogon. And the most important thing is that the whole idea of the Nemo and the fish people that are above the surface here, here's the line. This also is coming here from Mesopotamia. Pretty amazing. The same type of creature present in the History of Mesopotamia written during the 3rd century BC from the priest Beroso. His name was Onas. His body was similar to that of a fish. He lived only in water and had feet similar to those of man. Are these images referring to the same event? Are these the Atlanteans, perhaps? I bet they are. And they knew about Sirius B and advanced astronomical data, and they taught it to the Dogon, who were probably so primitive that they realized how important this was that they kept it in their traditional knowledge until today. Unlike us, all of our shit was burned by the elites that now control you because you're a slave, even though you think you live in a free world. Now, catastrophic shift of the Earth on 12,000-year intervals, including the one during the Younger Dryas here. And the mechanics are explained, yes, in this foreign blog that I think adds some important information to those that are seeking it. So I'm going to leave this link below. I'm not going to go over it because we don't have time. But maybe we'll do an independent podcast on the blog, which you will read because there will be a link below. Catastrophic shift of the Earth, 12,000 BC. Read it. Now, the cold moon is now up now. It'll occur today and tomorrow, and all you need to know about it is it's the highest full moon, it's the longest full moon, and it's the coldest full moon. And that's a cold full moon, boom. Hope you got something out of the video. I want to thank each and every one of you for bringing up Magnetic Reversal News above 15,000 subs. We have exploded since the La Palma videos. It's almost like I'm repeating the same thing I did with Oppenheimer Ranch Project, providing you with the same scientific knowledge, and people are just catching wind, which is good news. Over 1,000 subscribers in the last 28 days, and up and away. Our biggest surge ever on ORP was 2,500 subs on their 2nd year going into the winter. And here we are at a tiny little channel, Magnetic Reversal News, blowing it up. And it's because of you, not me. I just provide you the information. You listen and decide what you want to do with it. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing, and I don't even have the boom up, but it's coming. It's coming with a vengeance. And that is a boom. To knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. We love each and every one of you. New Year's is upon us. It is the eve of the New Year's Eve. What will you do with the rest of your life? If you wake up in the morning, decide to make it the best day you've ever lived. That's how we do it. Be the change you want to see, and the change will happen. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Click on one of the boxes for more knowledge. We love each and every one of you. Thanks to our one-time donors, our new Patreons. Everyone that shares this video, you are all heroes to free speech, to the Constitution, and the way we should all be living free and independent humans. Be safe, and that's a boom.